purely to kind of stonewall and not really be that kind of like heavy snowballer or something that can kind of take over the top lane, because a lot of the teams are leaning and looking to put their resources onto the bottom side of the map. And if Renekton falls behind Aragon, I'm sure you can account for this. It's rough. It doesn't feel great when you fall behind in lane. So, you know, maybe people just like to go towards the safer picks. I mean, we had a Poppy in the previous game, but, you know, we do still see things like the Ornns quite a lot. You know, these champions that can just auto-clear a wave and then show up to team fights a little bit later on. We're into that ban phase, though. So we've had the Vi, the Zeri, the Twitch ban away from Nativz. Fourth wall on the other side have answered out here with the Maokai and the Nico. Crucially, the LeBlanc is up and available, but that does leave... I'm trying to think what other like power picks are up and available. The Lucian, who we've seen quite a lot of bans focused towards. Oh, God, I'm having a brain...
Zeri's gone, sorry. Zeri's gone already.
Azir. Azir, thank you.
There's quite a few. There's quite a few as well. Like, we've seen a lot of, like, Olaf's being banned quite a lot as well. Gragas as well.
Milo!
LeBlanc being open.
That's the one.
Yeah, Milio's... Yeah. I mean, there's just... Yeah, there's a lot of powerful picks. And I will say not to... Okay, so here comes the LeBlanc first pick. Jake is absolutely loving life right now. Vladdy is going to be piloting that LeBlanc in the mid lane. And this is what I was actually going to say, right? When we were talking about the Renekton here, and I know we're giving this a lot of love, because it is Aragon's favorite champion, so we've got to. But like, I wasn't convinced, because Vladdy has not played a single non-AD mid laner this split. Not a single one. Every single mid he's picked has been AD, and I don't think if you're drafting an AD mid, you're going to want to stick Renekton in top lane. It's just probably not a good recipe for success. However, having said that, LeBlanc is not an AD mid laner, although she does build an AD item nowadays, doesn't she? So,
if I swear to God, if I see electrocute on this LeBlanc, I'm gonna be an unhappy bunny. Talking of Stonewall top laners, we are seeing Molto pick up the Cassante here as their top lane pick. Blink has got their hands onto the Aphelios. So moving now over to Natives. I'm curious where they're going to look to put their attention, because typically people like to play towards their bot side here and their jungle in the early rounds. Jungle's been completely negated. They've just gone for Lucian Nami. Lucian Nami and LeBlanc in her current state. Aragon, I think you might be right. We could be in for quite a quick game. This is a snowbally game.
Yeah, it depends if they can pull it off, right? Crucially, I think Yuumi might be picked up here for fourth wall. It's actually managed to make it through the ban phase. It really turns Aphelios into a really disgustingly tanky version of himself. I'd be really surprised if they take Lulu, and honestly, I'd be quite sad, because I think Yuumi is just so broken with Aphelios right now. It allows him to take so much damage and do so much as well. But it does look like they locked in the Lulu. You can imagine they're going to pinch mid laners for the side of Nativz now, as well as top laners. Potentially stuff that Shikari would pick is like the Gwen. I can imagine if they decide there are too many top laners to ban, they might just opt to ban stuff like the blind picks and the pairings that work well with the LeBlanc. Jarvan's being started out to ban for fourth wall right now. Maybe they ban something else, like, when you get through all these junglers, you start to look at other junglers that are a bit lower down in tiers. Kha'Zix comes up a bit more, Poppy comes up a bit more, but again,
we'll have Viego.
Wukong as well.
Viego's, Vi has been banned away, so we won't be seeing that too much either. Like, it's we've got a really, really good dominant lane phase start here for Nativz, and it can be a very difficult combination when you're the favorites and you've picked strong lane phase. Like the game can be very explosive, and it can just be gone like that. Like, you can just win, as everyone said, like, you win super early. But there is also value into trying to, if you're fourth wall, pick scaling, right? If you know you're not going to go up toe-to-toe to them in the early game, you pick scaling and instead try to just like draw it out and then bring something back as the game goes on. It is going to be difficult to do that still, to try and to navigate that, but that's potentially one of the angles that fourth wall can look for here, as they are now looking to try and...
Ezreal.
That's going to be mid, I'm pretty sure, right? That's going to be slapping down that Ezreal mid.
I was
try and counter
what they were
the
going to
LeBlanc.
pick up. I was thinking you could go like a Sylas angle, because Sylas has a really good matchup into LeBlanc, and you could save that as your final pick and see what Nativz pick if there's any really good ultimates. But they decide they want to make sure that they have a good jungle counter pick, so they've turned their attention towards this Ezreal here as their pickup. And over to the side of Nativz, they've locked in the Kindred. So that's a very skirmish-heavy kind of mid-jungle duo. So Vladdy, once that static shiv is completed, you just shove the wave in one auto attack, and then you just move off with the Kindred and just look for a kill. The question is what is going to be the answer from fourth walls? Obviously, Nativz do need to round out with a top laner. I kind of expect to see Shikari just pick up like a tank like an Ornn or something that could just eat the lane and kind of just play for team fights a little bit later. The question for me is now, what are they going to pick for Ute in the jungle?
Yeah, I do think what they've established themselves here is I really want them to play for Vladdy in the side lane here, right? I want them to play for Vladdy to facilitate him to get 200 CS at 18 minutes and then play safe as that 3-man in the mid lane, right? Now for Ute in the jungle, I think you could. Oh, it's really difficult. Wukong is banned away. That's typically a really good answer here. Any shouts, Foxy? You made a lot of jungle videos. Go ahead.
I made a lot of jungle videos, yeah. But have I ever been good enough to play at this level? Well,
this week I tried Vladimir jungle.
Yeah, I'm not sure those are the kind of things you want to slap down in competitive play. It's going to be the Xin Zhao instead. So really, like as everyone pointed out here, and it's to the T what you were talking about, skirmishing, right? You want to fight. You said this as well, Jake, right? How it's quite a heavy skirmish thing with the Kindred. Xin Zhao does not lose fights. Xin Zhao has like one gear, and that's like forward, move, go, right? And he's very good at doing it. The weakness to Xin are people that can either jump on top of his face and maybe like out DPS him and kill him before he can kill them, or people that can kite him. Kindred's neither of those two, right? You jump on Kindred's face and you will be able to beat her, and that's just how it's going to go, right? Also does provide a little bit of that kind of underrated or like counter to Kindred's ulti. If you jump in there and there are a bunch of people grouped up, you slap down your ulti as the Xin Zhao. That grand challenge will like swipe everyone away out of that ring, and then you might be able to find some picks in that way as well. But I also think it works cool into the Blanc again. Jump onto the Blanc, get your is it the 3 talent strike or is that someone else? I don't know.
It's 3 talent strike, yeah.
Yeah, get that stabby thing going on, and LeBlanc just has to jump away, right? And as much as this static shift LeBlanc is very oppressive, if you can, put pressure on her yourself, force her to use some of that mana to just disengage and play safe, then you will be able to make it kind of safe for your mid laner in Jin right here.
So I'm curious what your thoughts then are, because obviously, yeah, Xin Zhao does win the 1v1 versus the Kindred, but like when you then introduce either the mid laners or the top laners into that fight, I mean, I'm expecting it to kind of be Vladdy pairing up with Stefan. So do you expect that actually, if you add those two extra elements in, does the power kind of switch elsewhere, and does Kindred LeBlanc win this versus the Xin Zhao Ezreal, or do you think the Ezreal's just enough of a boost to make sure that you will win all of the 2v2s?
Who are you asking? Because that would depend on the
jungler.
answer. Crap, I was hoping you'd ask him first and I could just say the opposite. No, I think that Ez as a pick will do well in the lane phase against a Blanc, right? So like will be annoying to like get some harass down with those auto attacks, similar to what you used to see with Lucian and Tristana and stuff like that. Like I think it will be annoying for LeBlanc in lane, but as far as skirmishing goes, I think Ez just needs, like, he has power spikes that he has to reach, and he won't I don't think he'll be as effective in these skirmishes. Yeah. And then we've also got to consider the supports as well, right? We've got Lulu on one side with the Ez, and we've got Nami on the other side, right? And if we're pairing jungle and support, Nami Kindred is a very underrated combo. It's really, really strong together because again, you've got like a ranged champion with the whatever the buff is from Nami's called, right? And that will make things difficult as well. So I do really like the comp here from Nativz. I think it's going to be quite hard to overcome, and we'll see if the Ezreal can shut down the LeBlanc, but it's going to be difficult. So
the idea with the Ezreal is in the LEC, we saw a similar answer from Team Heretics, which was Kai'Sa, and they would also rush Static Shiv. There have also been rumblings about AP Static Shiv, Ezreal mid as well, similarly to match. You can just go inside lane, one-shot the wave. LeBlanc will then one-shot the wave back, and you have this kind of ping-pong. You play for side as well. But no, yeah, just to reiterate that Nami plus Kindred combo, there's also another thing that's not really talked about is the fact that you can also Nami W or Nami E rather your mid laner, and then it applies on spells, so you can make LeBlanc assassinate people too, which is super nice. There's lots of inherent synergy there, but I definitely do see a composition where we wait for static shifts to come online, we wait for mandate to be built for LeBlanc, and then we see a lot of mid lane push and the utilization of that.
Yeah, I kind of expect this game's going to be relatively chill, but I think when you do look at that skirmishing, if they don't have the pressure, if they have pressure in mid and the Xin Zhao decides to go for an invade, that could end really bad for them. I think early though, Ezreal should have the harass because LeBlanc, even with the Q changes they gave her a couple of patches ago, where she now refunds her mana on the Q, so you don't really have any mana problems on LeBlanc now. Your early shove is always weak. That's LeBlanc's major weakness. Is you have to trade spells for the wave and then lose any trading capability, or you trade and try and force them out, but then you have to just rely on auto attacks. Most LeBlancs do run an auto attack rune, just so they can kind of keep up the CSing, because if you're not used to auto attacking LeBlanc, it's brutal. It's a bit like Karthus, for anyone who's had to do CSing on Karthus before. But I do expect to see, Jimrius, especially as he's going to be constantly queuing the wave and building up his passive, he will just have constant shove onto Vladdy, and that is like the number one counter to LeBlanc, like level 1 to 6, is just being able to shove them in.
Yeah, Kindred too, right? Like, not an inability to invade and get stacks if your mid lane is constantly pushed in, and you can get collapsed on by that Ezreal, and the Xin Zhao also winning the 1v1, like Foxtrot said. It might be difficult for them to play early game, getting these stacks. That's why I really do think once the LeBlanc gets static shift, they should play to side, get that side pro with the one-shot in the waves. That's exactly what we saw in the LEC. LeBlanc gets a bunch of CS because you could just farm so damn fast, and I 100% bet that Hipbrain is loving the fact LeBlanc is meta right now, because he never goes off on these tangents about like champion mechanics, except when it's about LeBlanc.
Bro, there's only 2 champs I know, GP mid and LeBlanc. Like, I'm useless outside of that.
It's a double-edged sword though, Jake, isn't it? Because the more that this LeBlanc gets picked, the more it gets banned, and then you're not going to be able to play it, you're not going to be able to see it, and it will get nerfed, and I suppose at least we'll have some excuses for why you can't get out of silver.
Oh god. Actually, honestly, people in my elo don't even realize what like static shifts are figure. I had a jungler having a go at me for building static shift on LeBlanc the other day. I was like, oh, oh god.
Yeah,
Sweet summer child.
Sorry about that. I'm a bit behind the times.
I was like, I don't know, man. Yeah. It is going to be one of those things where, as much as I've been waiting for LeBlanc to jump back into meta, it is that double-edged sword of whenever a champion that you really enjoy playing becomes better, you don't get to see them as much, you don't get to play them as much, purely just because people start to realize, oh, this is really hard to play into. The question and like the thing for me is, things like this Ezreal, are they good enough adaptation to maybe force the LeBlanc from being like must-pick?
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. This is the difficulty right here, right? When you're thinking about this mid lane matchup, you've always got to talk about jungle matchups as well. And exactly as everyone was pointing out, Yu is looking quite aggressive in his positioning right here. He really wants to shut down this Kindred or just spot him out or something like that. And this is when the first big play of the game will happen, is in maybe like 20 seconds time, when these scuttle crabs spawn, right? Because it's a 50-50 flip for which one's going to get the first mark of the game. It's always going to be one of these 2 scuttle crabs. That's how it works with Kindred. It's either going to be the top one or the bot one. You don't know which one it's going to be. If it's the bot one, then Nativz are very happy. Stefan is very happy. Yeah, because you had push in mid and bot, but unfortunately it is going to be top side. So we'll see what Stefan can do about this one, whether he will be able to get this mark. But you can already see Ute is just bombing it towards the top side, trying to take away that mark. And I think Stefan's just going to concede it and just be like, you know what, I'm not going to take this one, because he's pushing in against Ornn. So a bit unfortunate there for Stefan as far as wanting to secure those stacks goes. He's going to miss out on that first one, and we'll have to wait till he gets rolling with those.
Yeah, you could see there's definitely some early planning there from Fourth Wall, which is really good, right? This is definitely a step up from what they were doing last week. They wanted to skip camps and invade Kindred on her bot side camps because they knew she'd be full clearing. But unfortunately, when they made the call, Jinrace had priority, but when he went to actually go invade, they lost priority. So a little bit of a mismatch in communication there, maybe not quite understanding the matchup as well as he'd like to get that priority to invade. So he has to concede it and just pray, like you said, that the mark does spawn topside. Doesn't get to invade the respawning camps topside either, instead settling for a clear down to bot side again, and maybe they could do a dragon or find a play down bot side.
So one of those lanes where both of them have fleet footwork. LeBlanc really doesn't have mana problems anymore, so it's basically just a totally neutral lane. Like Vladdy, the wave either has to be like cleared enough that he can kind of land like a full combo to actually be able to do anything, which realistically at this point probably not going to be able to do. So it is just kind of playing that slow. They're going to go back for recalls and grab those items. Kirsty's Shard finished up for Vladdy. It's actually a very early spike. When you get that along with the fleet footwork proc, you actually do... I can't remember what the damage is on Kirsty's Shard, but it's...
60, I think.
60. And then you get the fleet footwork one on top of that. It does a little bit. It does sting a little bit in those early levels. But like we were saying, fleet footwork, Jinrai's should be fine.
Does look like some trading coming in the mid lane. They are moving to this dragon, and if you take a look, Yute's actually on his Gromp. Are they going to contest here? They've pushed in bot side, and mid lane looks like it's getting the push. I'm not quite sure what Yute's intention is. They seem a bit indecisive. I don't think they're going to contest because you can see Chimera hasn't moved forward. They don't want to face check into the Lucian Nami Kindred, so you could tell, right? They haven't got any decisive calls. He's going to have to just concede. You can imagine they feel pretty bad about this. As Chimera goes forward, it's like they didn't even know.
That's this is just kind of tragic, right? For fourth wall, it's like the worst of both worlds, where you're not contesting the dragon, but you're not achieving anything. You're not getting anything done right here, and you even take a bunch of damage on the backside there as well. It feels terrible when you're playing Xin Zhao, and you don't really have this consistent lane priority. Like he's got some from top with Cassante, but who cares? Who cares about top lane prior? Like, I mean, it's not really being able to do a huge amount. Like, yeah, you are able to deny that first mark, and here comes the next mark spawning as well, because the first mark is always on one of these crabs. So it's nice that he's been able to do this, right? At least he's been able to do this, push that Ornn in, put the Kindred behind in that sense as well. But he's not really able to be that champion that Xin Zhao wants to be, and it's one of the reasons why you don't see him picked too much anymore either, because he needs to do things at this stage of the game. He's gonna get outscaled. It's gonna happen. He wants to have the early impact. He wants to be able to get the pressure down on his lanes. He's just not been able to do that. It's good that he's denying marks, of course, but he's not been able to get anything else, and it might just come back and make this Xin Zhao pick a bit of a wasted pick.
It's one of those things now where we're kind of at the point where we're 7 minutes into the game, and other than that dragon, Nativz haven't really been able to do too much. They've got like pressure in bot side where they've got a pretty significant CS lead built up, but Blink should be able to somewhat close that gap. That was a fairly healthy wave building into him. We haven't really started to see any snowball yet, which is something we wanted to see from this team, especially with the team that they've drafted here.
Yeah, you can see quite interestingly a natural CS lead occurring down bot side. Denvoxney on this Lucian Nami. I don't think it should be going this badly, right? It just shouldn't. So Denvoxney, just some individual prowess here coming out in bot lane. But other than that, yeah, like you're saying, really quiet bot lane. You see some pings coming down into the river, maybe looking to get some vision, maybe to make him play. But I do think, like we keep going back to, like we said in Champion Select, it's all about getting to that static shift. Everything to do with the macro will be getting to static shift, going to side lane, and getting that free push whilst you play Catch Me If You Can with LeBlanc, Wing forward and auto-attacking the wave, then going back into fog. And it's just really hard to deal with. So that's what I'm waiting for right here. Maybe we'll also see some Rift Herald fights, but it does look like more actions going on bot lane.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Blink's losing a lot of HP. Lucian Nami, man, it's not quite that electrocute days on the Nami, but man, it still hits so hard. Blink can't do anything. He can't step up. They're just going to freeze this lane in his face, take out the wards and everything, and there is absolutely nothing that 4-4 can do about this. I mean, Denvoxney's about to get his full rotation back up again. Other than that ultimate, he could genuinely jump on Blink again with that ebb and flow and actually assassinate him here.
Yeah, look at the junglers though. Here comes Kindred, here comes Xin Zhao. Both junglers know they have to cover because this is like a very explosive area right now. Nativz obviously on the push here, on the aggressive position, and so Zin's going to have to cover for his team, but Kindred knows that too. If this turns into a 3v3, Nativz are going to be in a very good spot. Ute could be in trouble.
Oh, that was such a good bait. He didn't even back off. He made Ute feel like he was comfortable. The tidal wave's coming in. The knock-up's on. Ute's popped the ultimate. Then Voxney just needs to get in range as they do jump away to safety. That slow from the Glitter Lance was just enough to buy the life of Ute there.
And you can see what Blink was trying to do there was he was trying to kind of take bad trades to bait in Denvoxney, but it just didn't matter because you was actually just a bit too far. By the time you actually managed to gap close, Blink was down to 300 HP.
God.
Beautiful.
So gross. It's so hideous, isn't it? It's so hideous. You just said like baiting to take bad trades. Are there any good trades in this lane for Aphelios? It just feels so hideous. It's so
trade
difficult
minions
to play.
for minions, mate. That's the good trade.
Yeah,
I get
stay
minions, you
away.
get minions. That's the trade.
Gosh, it's so difficult. This bowling is just so difficult to do right here. Still 0 stacks though for Stefan, which is beautiful for fourth wall. That is one of the positives. But to be honest, at this point the game is relatively even, and I mean I think if we had nameplates off, maybe we'd be talking about this game a little differently. I feel like maybe the fact that we expect Nativz to be dominating this game, we're kind of thinking they're already in that position of power, right? When actually, being 20 CS down in bot side isn't terrible. You're down one dragon, but it's not the end of the world. You're pretty even in this mid side too. It is even for now, and denying these 3 marks means that this Kindred is actually quite significantly behind. Being 10 minutes into the game, not having a single mark really does suck. Like, for a reminder as well for Kindred, like, obviously more marks equals more power, but it's really that 4 mark that you want to hit in the early game, right? You want to get the first 4 marks, like get into that number 4 mark, and then 7, 10, and every 3 after that. Once you hit that 4 mark, you get increased attack range, and that's essentially really, really big difference for Kindred, because she's otherwise an exceptionally low range character, and especially playing into the Sinzal, it's going to be very difficult to do that without that attack range. But it looks like it might be Forthwall going for the first kind of aggressive play right here, as bot lane has rotated to top. Maybe a dive to Ornn, but I don't know about this one. I mean, Ornn is not exactly an easy customer for a dive.
No, he's able to clear out the wave as well, so I think the dive is done. They will get the plates on the tower from the Herald. Dragon is traded though, so there is a cross map made by Nativz off the back of that. They've been able to pick up a whole bunch of plates without a Herald on the bot side as well. And Shikari, he's still got that ultimate, he's still got flash, he's still got teleport. He's genuinely feeling very comfortable. Blink doesn't even have the perfect setup of guns. He's got the chakrams, but he hasn't really got the red gun to give the increase. As they actually do see them jumping in onto Stefan. Stefan loses a lot of HP, has to throw that ultimate down. In comes the tidal wave to buy some space. Vladdy charging in forwards, goes in for first blood, able to connect it with the damage from the Sigil of Malice. And that is first blood to Nativz.
And you could see that Vladdy actually had the static shift first and made it through to bot side onto that player like earlier. And this is just Molto having no real options compared to Shikari, where there's this whole like base race thing going on top and bot with the cross maps. And Shikari is perfectly happy. Full HP, sitting at the tower. Look at him. He's just massive, right? And not giving up that many plates, whereas Molto, he was getting plates taken in his face, whilst not actually giving up. I don't know if this is my end.
No, it's all ours.
It's all of us. I can see the UI still going.
Hopefully you guys at home can see the action, because I have no idea what's going on. Coming back to us. Hello. There we are. It is that power of that static shift, though, because if that was a LeBlanc with just like a Ludens at this point, you can one-shot the back wave, but you still got like the casters.
Attacks, right?
You're in danger, right? And at that point, they'd one-shot the wave, able to roam down for that fight. And to be fair, the fight was pretty much already won by the time they got there to secure that first blood. But the problem was other people were collapsing. And the fact that the LeBlanc had come in, finished up that kill, meant that fight was just not going to happen in any day. So you do see the power of this static shiv. I mean, Ezreal also now having it is pretty crucial. It does mean that the mid lane basically is just never going to have minions in it. They're just going to walk in, immediately die, and then Ezreal and LeBlanc are just going to walk off to somewhere else until the AD carries start taking over that lane. But that's a good start, and we are seeing, Forthwall put up more of a fight than I expected, especially off the draft.
Yeah, they were doing really well. Until, honestly, this cross map, I think, was not great for them, because they put in resources to securing the Herald, and essentially Nativz did exactly what Forthwall did without needing Herald. They just pushed the ball and got plates themselves, right? They just didn't need to get that extra objective, and instead they took the second dragon as well. They got that first blood too, and so now the question is, this is probably the first big, significant W coming through from Nativz in this game, and this is where, coming towards the end of the game, if Nativz are able to win, we'll look back at this moment and be like, okay, this is the start of how how it all began. I know that sounds terrible, but you know what I mean, right? So this is the moment here, right? Where do we go from here? Is the question, right? LeBlanc now has that first kill. She's got the static shiv as well. We've got 2 dragons set up, so we're off to a good foundation for this game. Do we just play for dragons now? Do we just play for that LeBlanc doing LeBlanc things with static shiv? It now becomes a bit of a tricky game here for Forthwall if you want to try and stop that soul from going down, especially.
Yeah, I think what we see now is how well the teams did their research on what the LEC teams did the past 2 days, right? Past 3 days, what they did with the Blanc, which was just side laning. I keep coming back to it, but it's true, right? All they did was put, for example, Vitality, they just put Perks topside, and just kept him going back and forth between Fog, Vor, and Not, auto-attacking the wave, and then going back to Fog, and everyone would try to chase him. And this is the best that split pushing has looked in years. I won't lie. The game is very much streamlined to become like a team fight simulator. We saw that last game, but nowadays with this LeBlanc, this is exactly what split push needed, and honestly, quite honestly, it gives no counterplay. So that's what I want to see. Let's see how much research they did. If we just see like team fighting, then they're definitely not playing it optimally, because I want to see LeBlanc get so much CS, and you can already see, look how much CS LeBlanc has. It's the most LeBlanc has ever had at 15 minutes.
That's
Can
over
I just...
10. That's over 10 per minute.
Over 150 is over 10, yeah. Over 10 per minute, yeah. No, it's already looking pretty gross, honestly. Like, they don't have to worry about it at all. LeBlanc is definitely expediting her way to success right here. I just want to put a little bit of focus onto Xin Zhao's item build right now. This Triforce coming through from him, it's aggressive, right? You usually see these Xin Zhao's with their mythics being a little bit more bruiser focus, a bit more defensive focus. So Gore Drinker being a big one, maybe like a Cleaver, just kind of like your standard build like that, and maybe something you would expect from like a Jarvan or a Lee Sin or something like that. But having that Blue Smite and then taking that Triforce as well really does kind of imply that this guy wants to be playing a lot more aggressively. But the problem is, like, they're just not in that spot, like if they'd had a bit of a lead and then he goes into Triforce, maybe you'd start thinking, okay, he's trying to snowball this out, he's looking for these fights, he's not putting his foot off the pedal at all. The problem is they don't have their foot anywhere near the pedal right now. It's definitely not a meta build going for this Triforce. Like, Gore Drinker is still the more popular choice. Maybe you can chuck in a cheeky little Eclipse or something like that, but yeah, it is something. It's definitely something quite aggressive, and we'll see if it pays off, because at this point, yes, they haven't been able to get anything happening, but now that you have this power spike, Triforce is always a big power spike, no matter who it is that buys it. Once you complete it, it's big. We want to see Xin Zhao do something. Now is the time. You've got to be that catalyst for your team to try and get a footing in this game.
Right, as we are now hit that 15-minute mark, let's take a quick stock of where we're at. Obviously, we talked a lot about these mid laners and their builds. That's pretty much standard stuff. It's interesting to see that Vladdy's decided to go for the Hextech Alternator over getting the Ludens immediately. Kind of just wanting for even more poke capabilities. Other than that, everything's pretty standard. AD carries starting to hit their items as they are slowly but surely building it up. I think the major attention right now will be towards that dragon, which is spawning relatively soon. I don't have the timer, unfortunately, on when that will be coming up. But the main thing is right now, fourth wall, they've got their bot lane here on this side of the map, on the top side, away from the dragon, meaning that they're probably just looking at the cross map for the Herald. It's okay for Vladdy to be here, because Vladdy can just easily deal with the wave, and if he needs to join a fight, he can just teleport in. He has that. He even has a Nami with him.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to play off of that, right? Like, you're trying to cross map into a static shift, and it's just impossible. There's a collapse coming in. Look at the the TP top side.
All right, they're coming in with that teleport in, and that's going to be the kill there for Demvoxing. Nice and easy. In comes the Ornhorn. The knock-up connects. The bubbles are coming in. They're going to look for the damage onto them. Another bubble does connect beautifully here from the side of Nativz as they continue to pressure onto fourth wall, sending them packing. They are just going to move away to safety with that one kill onto Jimrius.
And what a bluff from Nativz there to bait fourth wall into going for that aggressive play, because fourth wall were thinking, okay, Natives are on dragon, that's 100% going to happen, they're going to be stacking up their dragons here, we'll do a cross map play, we'll go top side, we'll try and dive this valley, we'll put pressure on the split push from LeBlanc here. And it was just read like a book from Natives. Natives didn't even go for the dragon, instead they all went top side. They went for that play, they managed to pick the kill, they got a lot of damage on this top tower. They're going to pick up this Herald instead now for themselves, and should be able to walk straight over to this dragon and take this one too. It was just really smart, honestly, to just buck the trend and kind of, instead of going from paint by numbers, like, okay, dragon spawning here, let's go for dragon and we'll play for soul, they just did the complete opposite. Fourth wall were not expecting it at all, and if I'm not mistaken, this will also be another mark here for Stefan, because I think this crab should be spawning relatively quickly in this bot side. And I don't know if he did get a mark in that play top side. I don't know if he has been able to pick up his first one, but he might be able to finally be doing some Kindred fantasy things of stacking up that mark, as it is coming up soon.
Just going to shove in the lane here on the bot side, in the mid side, go for the reset, AD carry. Then Voxy's actually got that Gale Force finished up now, so he's already 2 items in, where Blink has only just got that Kraken Slayer, so feeling a little bit weaker on that front. Vladdy actually building a Fiendish Codex on their base. I'm curious what their build is actually.
Night Harvester.
They go Night Harvester
on the static shiv.
Of course it does, yeah. I've seen rumblings of this version. I normally see the Luden still get picked up for that pen, but might have to hold that thought because Stefan's been caught. They do have the ultimate, the Lamb's Respite, to buy them some space if they need to. They don't press the button quick enough, and down they go. In comes the assassination from Vladdy, missing the chains, most crucially fumbling that. Throws down the ultimate and is looking to finish up onto LeBlanc here, but it does look like Vladdy should just be able to finish this one up. Thanks to the Q coming in from Demvoxny. He's just going to chase onto Chimera. Almost got the damage to finish him up. One last Q into those 2 autos, but can't actually line them up, and now may lose his own life in response, trying to dive and duck away from all of these Ezreal attacks. The flashes are fumble. All it's going to take is a single E forwards. He's able to heal up for now. Actually has the power to potentially turn this around. Throws the W out. Gets a bunch of damage off. Chains connect here onto Molto. Molto dodging away on the ult chains there. That was a series of errors there from Nativz, but they're able to limp away.
This is the downside of an APS, right? Like those auto attacks. You think that would finish him off? You think that would do it, but no, you don't have any AD. You're all AP. But that's not just a lost kill. But look at the bounty that Demvoxny had right there. That would have been massive for Jinray. He was unfortunately just not able to pick it up. Oh, that sucks. That really sucks. You know, I did bring attention to the Triforce on Zin. I was like, okay, not really fighting that much. This is definitely like a skirmishing, like kind of really aggressive choice. They weren't fighting beforehand, but he was able to, get that pick onto the Kindred. Lots of damage coming through there. Really well timed Ezreal ult as well to, just nuke Stefan down before he could even use his own ulti. It was good. It was good right there. This was more of what we were expecting from this team comp from Fourth Wall, and it would have been perfect if Lucian had died. Unfortunately, he does get away with his life right here, and a little bit of advantage still coming through from Nativz.
Yeah, so some life coming up in Fourth Wall, right? This is not what we've seen from Fourth Wall in prior weeks. Unfortunately, Stefan doesn't manage to get the ult out. Otherwise, who knows how that whole play comes out. Doesn't expect Jinrace's ultimate from Fog of War. Managed to kill Stefan before he even gets to use his ultimate. I don't know if Stefan was actually CC'd potentially by the Xin Zhao knockup. I don't think so, but that would have explained it. But look at this. Look at LeBlanc in the side lane. How do you deal with it? Because you can't go to chase her, right? Normally the answer would be you send a couple people down to bot side. Yes, you're risking Baron, but that's the idea. If you send someone to stop LeBlanc though, she can just W away, right? It's unbelievably difficult. It's like, I believe Cagel on cast yesterday or the day before was comparing this to the likes of, I don't know if you guys remember, Brain Foxdrop, Stopwatch Rise, where you would stopwatch as you ultimated, and there was no counterplay to your split pushes. This is what this is right now, and you can see they're using it. This is exactly what I want to see from the beginning, and now what they can play for is the tier 2 tower topside as well.
It is a very, very hard lane to play into, because the thing is like, yeah, they've got the Jimrius as their answer for the lane, but when it comes to the split pushing option, Ezreal with the static shiv can one-shot the wave, sure, but he can't do the split pushing like LeBlanc can because he has a single E, and it's on a pretty high cooldown as well, so he really struggles. Plays like this are the only opportunity to play around split pushes, is find the 4 or the 3 stack and take them out, and then force either LeBlanc to teleport in, which at the moment Vladdy doesn't have, or find that win in a fight, and then transition that into a tower, into a Baron, into some kind of objective.
So now, simply just going to go top lane, take that other 600 gold. The amount of gold injection that Nativz have had in the past 2 minutes is just going to set up this dragon. You can imagine they're going to want to look to a recall, right? Because they've just had double 600 gold bonuses from those tier 2 turrets.
Stupid.
And watch the inventories now as they go shopping. Like, take a look at all their inventories. They're just going to, spike I'd be very surprised if they do Baron here, because Dragon would make much more sense with all the gold that they just received. But you can see Denvox is on 3 items, and like 3.5, an item and a half ahead of Blink here. Really accelerated. Imagine he's just going to dash in with an army on him, and he's just going to make a pick mid lane coming up in the next 30 seconds and secure Dragon First to him.
Is that like 11, 12 CS a minute? I actually can't do the maths on it for Vladdy here, but like even, oh my god, it's so stupid. I love it. As somebody who's had to play this myself, it's so much fun. Like, you're just like, oh, I just don't have to worry about waves. And like, the damage is crazy if you hit a champion with it at this point. They're going for the Lichbane build as well, so the split pushing is even stronger, but watch these auto attacks when they do come out. Once you get that Lichbane pot on top of everything else, it chunks, and Yute's in danger. He's just down, nothing he can do about that. They don't have to take the ward out, but now down a jungler, this should just be Nativz.
Yes, bad spot right there for you. He's gone down, and yeah, as you say, as a jungler, it means even more. You know, it's one thing if you lose your support around Baron, but if you lose your jungler, that's the go button right there for Nativz to go aggressive. But it looks like, oh, Vladdy's just one-shot Jinray right there. That's painful. We're going to get the fight here, Jake. Take us through.
Well, it's already over at this point. 2 kills, double kill picked up for Denvoxny. Ultimate on Molto, but that's purely so he can escape. Just an absolutely one-sided affair, and they didn't even have their jungler for it. Just able to out-muscle the way through, and Vladdy, he's not even stopping to help with the Baron. He's just going to continue to stay in the side lanes and continue to be a problem. Only 1 tower outside the base now stands for 4th wall, and they are really starting to struggle if they've got their backs to the wall, so to speak. As right now, Baron in the pocket of the team Nativz.
And it's just a Nativz macro masterclass, right? Of course, them going bot lane with LeBlanc was really easy, right? I'm not saying it was difficult to do that with the static shift, but the fact that they pulled it off, gold injected with those towers, just meant that the next play at these neutral objectives with the... You saw Jinrace just get eviscerated by this culling, down to 200 HP in like half a second, and then just be finished off very easily afterwards. That was because of this macro from the split push, which allowed them to inject their golds in. So where Fourth will have to look, at least if they're reviewing this game, they got to see how could we have stopped this LeBlanc from pushing and securing that first turret into the second turret top side, and maybe then we could have had a bit of mid game.
Yeah, maybe so, but oh, then comes a bit of damage there coming in from Vladdy. Just a little bit of poke off for the moment. As meanwhile, the team are just taking the bases inside the or the towers inside the base onto this bot inhibitor. Gonna make this look nice and easy, as it does look like there's a potential for some level of defense, but it's just instantly turned around as the Ornhorn comes down, knocking up the single player as the inhibitor continues to take fire here from the side of Nativz. Down goes one inhibitor. The Aphelios turret is not going to survive for too much longer, and Vladdy, he's got the wave shoving here in the bot side, in the mid lane as well, so they can quickly transition this into that tier 2 mid. And there is just no opportunity for any level of defense coming in from the side of 4th wall.
It's just relentless, isn't it? Nativz just not giving up at all right here. Trying to force the engage while LeBlanc's top.
And they're going to throw the teleport out. Actually, really nice hold on the E there from Denvoxny to dodge away on Molto. So that is going to be it. It was an attempted fight, and it did not really end in anything at all. They just dash forward a little bit, get a little bit more poke off. But meanwhile, topside, Vladdy's taking a tower. Somebody needs to go deal with him, but he's just going to make quick work of this. He's even tanking it. Feels so comfortable.
You know, I kind of want it permaban, guys. I don't know why we've let it through. I think the LEC teams have now learned that it is a permaban on red side. You just do not let it get through. It might be the best champion on the entire patch. Please don't let it go through.
Oh god.
I think that was QR auto attack, but Vladdy.
One more auto. God,
that's the Lichbane, baby. That's the Lichbane power spike from this build. It's huge.
You just... Like, it's one thing to get beaten down by LeBlanc, but when it's an auto attack that finishes you off, it just feels terrible. Like, you just think, what could I do at this point? What could I do? And there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing 4th wall can do. They're going to try their best to keep this one alive, but it's not going to happen for much longer.
Oh, it's not at all. They get a bit of healing off on to Chimera, but there's not too much he can do. Jumping onto the backline, you can see that Molto is able to finish up onto Denvoxny, but he is going to get taken out in response. Everybody down, and this is just Nativz finding themselves their easy win, gifted to split push in LeBlanc. as down goes the Nexus, not before cashing on a little bit of
Oh,
glory.
oh.
I say that, but Blink's actually able to do a lot of damage. Shikari finishing one up. They find the knock up, the W forwards, and there's Vladdy with the auto attack. Lichbane proc. Down goes the Nexus. 27 minutes on the clock, and that's a Nativz win.
And it's just like blink and it's over, right?